Hello, this is Michael McCarthy, and this is a quick video to show some of the new state sets features that are in 2014. One of them is pretty quick and easy, and that's the ability to take any viewport, go to Extended Viewports, and choose the state set's main window as a extended view. So you can take that and adjust it. If you have a long list of states that you're dealing with, it can be kind of nice. And you can always select your other views and use Alt-W to kind of tab it in and out, and maybe keep a little more flexible, less floating dialogues all over the place. If you have a situation where you'd rather it be a little longer than thin, you can go to something like this, especially if you're using the compositor view. And that way you can kind of tool around in here and adjust some of that stuff as need be. And if you need to Alt-W that stuff in and out, you can if you're going over to After Effects or Photoshop with some of your state set comps. So that should be a quick, hopefully helpful thing that will organize your UI a little bit better. I'm just going to get rid of the viewport tabs, and I'm going to bring my favorite scene manager Zookeeper into play here so that we can hide and unhide a few objects easily. I'm just going to go in and organize some of my lights and cameras into tabs, and I'm going to hide this layer of lights there. So the other thing that I want to look at is the ability for state sets to track modifiers in 2014, which is new. If I go in here and I select this wire object, you can see that it has a bunch of different modifiers on it. The cap holes one should be on in the base state by default, but we have a few others like push, lattice, and let me just unhide it, and a couple of different material modifiers here that are going to change the material ID based on which one is on or off. And what we can do is we can track whether those modifiers are on and off in a particular state. So let's go. I'm going to hide this again because this is what my base state should kind of look like. And I'm just going to double click on this, and I'm going to call this Spidey Red. Alright, I'll make this a little bit wider so that I can see that. And basically I'm going to make a little Spider-Man kind of wire teapot. So I'll go in and record. Click on that to unhide it. I'll add my push, my lattice, and this material for matte Spidey, which sets the material ID to 1. If I bring up my material editor, you can see that I have just two materials in this material, multi-subobject material that's assigned to that object, and I could choose from 1, 2, or 30 different ones. Now, of course, we could always do this to an object and just unhide that object with a different material, or even track assigning the materials, which is all things state sets can do. But I just wanted to show some of the ability of playing with the modifiers and tracking those. So now when I turn this off and toggle that state on and off, you can see those modifiers get turned on and off. And I'll just create another state, and I'm going to call this Venom Black. So for this one, I'm going to go in and with that same object, I'm going to unhide it, push, lattice. I'm not going to turn on the Spidey, but the Venom matte, which is kind of a gray material. And then I'm going to select the body, and for the body you can see that we have the default, which is the Spidey matte, but we also have the material for Venom, which is black, so we can turn that one on for this. So now I can toggle those on and off and see how it works. And just to be safe, let's say we're going to change something in the base state or something like that. I might want to go in here and just make sure that this Spider-Man material ID of 1 is on for that one. So I can go in and re-record that if I want to. Now another one that I have here is this little matte material. So I might make a new one and just call it wire matte. And if this is something that I wanted to comp in a After Effects or some other application, I might want to go in and turn on this matte and then go into the wire and set these up. And it doesn't matter really which one that I use here, and kind of set it up like that. I'll just do a quick preview render. And you see that we get something like this, and if I go into the alpha, we get something like that. I probably want to hide the background as well. So I know that happens to be in my nested studio layer set under set. So I'm just going to hide it there. I could also hide it up here for backdrop. And when I render that out, you can see that I get this here. And what's important is really the alpha that comes through, and that I don't see the backside of that because I've applied that matte multi-sub object, which you can see here is just a matte shadow material. So I've chosen, material ID 3 for that object. I'll go back to the body. You can see that that one just enables material ID 3. So I can kind of toggle that on and off. So now I have a few different states that are just kind of set up using my modifiers to track what's going on. Now, of course, there's all sorts of different interesting implications to this. So I'm just going to create a new motion state. And if I wanted to change the animation, basic animation for things, or possibly even more advanced animation with point cache modifiers or even different skin modifiers or things like that, I can go in and kind of track those things. So before I do that, I'll just set it up. I'm going to grab that body object and I'm going to apply an XForm modifier. And XForm is just a transform modifier in the form of a modifier, so I can go in and animate this. So I'll go and I'll select that gizmo. I'm going to go to frame 100. Just kind of rotate that around a bit. Rotate it around a bit here. So we got something like that. Some pretty terrible animation, but I think you guys will get the drift. And of course, if we turn that on and off, you can see how we have that there. So this could be something that I could go in and I could say, well, you know what, for this particular state, I want to have this animation on. And if I press play, you'll see that we get that animation. And that's something that I can toggle on and off. So whether it's animation or even just different movements that you would like to have in your set. So let's say you had a room where you would like to have the windows open and closed in different render passes. That's something that you could easily set up with an XForm modifier. Or if you wanted to have an animation with the door opening or swinging out in one particular pass, then that's something that you could add to a state. And as I mentioned before, things like turning on and off morphers and maybe point cache meshes and other things like that might be great things for you to do in a state or in a render pass. And those are all things that you can do with this new feature. Also, if we move out of the render pass side of things just into scene setup, these are things that you can add. Let's just say maybe we add a substitute modifier. There. These are things that you could turn on and off and substitute different meshes for different things in places if you're just wanting to organize and play around with your scene. And if you were animating, maybe you would have a heavy cloth simulation or a heavy skin morph or something like that, that while you're animating you didn't really want to be active for. So for an animation state, you may turn those things off or make some sort of change there. So those might be potential opportunities for doing something like that. Obviously very powerful to work with modifiers in 3ds Max, and I hope people will get a lot out of being able to track their on and off states. So hopefully this will help you improve your workflow with state sets. Thank you very much.